And they should remain unhappy like that. There's a story I said just on Friday, in the Jum'ah khutbah. I just wanted to repeat it, and it deals with how people just always look at what they don't have. They look at what they don't have, and they become unhappy because they focus on what's missing and they don't focus on what they have. And you know the hadith, if you look at the value of the blessings Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you, the value of your eyesight, you cannot put a price on your eyesight. You cannot put a price on your health. These blessings are worth more than the world and everything in it. I have a friend of mine, and he worked really, really hard until he became a millionaire. May Allah bless his wealth. And in the process of working hard and gathering all this money, his family was destroyed. And he always tells me, I would rather be making $30,000 a year, be poor and have my family together, than all the millions I have now and I've got no family. But people always ignore what Allah Azza wa Jal gives them, and they say, my happiness will be in achieving this goal. I won't be happy until I start a business. I won't be happy until I have $1 million. I won't be happy until I have this and that. But the truth is, we all have the ingredients to have a happy life. All you have to do, be thankful for what you have. You can still strive to achieve your goals. Keep a relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. Keep making dhikr. Keep making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take cues from the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The scholars say, whatever calamity you go through in your life, you will find the Prophet ﷺ went through it or something similar. If you lose a child, Jazakallah khair. If you lose a child, the Prophet ﷺ lost a child. If you lose a grandchild, he lost a grandchild. If you lose a spouse, the Prophet ﷺ lost a spouse. And so on and so forth. Every calamity you can go through, the Prophet ﷺ went through worse. You have a headache, the Prophet ﷺ got a headache twice as painful as yours. You have a bad neighbor, the Prophet ﷺ had 3 bad neighbors. Are you listening? Hey! The Prophet ﷺ had 3 bad neighbors. Do you understand what that means? What are the odds that you might have 3 bad neighbors? What if I said right now, whoever has a neighbor that's their enemy, put your hand up. And then most people, no, I said what if? نزل ايدك. تفضح نفسك. Don't embarrass yourself. So if I said, everybody who has a bad neighbor who's an enemy, put your hand up. Okay, I have a neighbor who's an enemy, you put your hand up. Then I said, okay, what if you have 2 neighbors who are your enemies and you fight with them every morning? And then a few people put their hands up. Then I say, what if you have 3 neighbors who are your enemies? Put your hands up. And one brother has his hand up. You tell me, what are we going to think of this brother? You tell me, what do you think? What do you think we're going to think of him? We're going to think he's the bad guy. He's the bad neighbor. He's the troublemaker. It's not 3 bad neighbors. You're the bad guy. Right? But the Prophet ﷺ had 3 bad neighbors. And the scholars say, what are the odds someone from the Ummah will have 3 bad neighbors also? But the Prophet ﷺ always experienced things worse than what you can experience. His neighbors would throw trash into his house. He wakes up in the morning and their trash is in his house. If you wake up and your neighbor threw trash into your house, okay, and you took that trash and you put it back into their house, did you do anything wrong? Yes. No. You gave him his trash back. We're even. Nobody would blame you. How dare you put his trash back in his house? Well, it's his trash. He threw it into my house. I just gave it back to him. I'm neutral. 0. But the Prophet ﷺ wouldn't even put it back in their house. All he would do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would gather it and he would just say out loud, أَهَذَا حَقُّ الْجِوَارِ أَهَذَا حَقُّ الْجِوَارِ Is this the right of the neighbor? Is this how you treat your neighbor? That's all he would say. 3 bad neighbors. What are the odds you will have 3 bad neighbors? Let me tell you something. My neighbor throws trash in my house. It's on. I'm not going to throw it back. First I'm going to put it in a big bag and have my son urinate in it. Then we put it out in the sun till it smells really bad. Then we scatter it all over his house, the roof. So he has to dig to get it. Yeah? The Prophet ﷺ went through things so difficult. You look at his life, you read his seerah, and your life becomes easy after that. You know, when the Prophet ﷺ left Ta'if, as he was leaving the city, they asked the youth and the slaves to stand on the side of the road like this, and they started throwing stones at the feet of the Prophet ﷺ and Zayd ibn Harith. Alright? So these are the youth of the city of Ta'if, which is the second largest city, and the slaves. How many do you think they were?
10 million. 100.
Don't make me smack you. 10,000. Be quiet. Nobody under 12 say anything. 500. No, that's too much. But what do you expect? 50, 60? And they're going to throw these rocks at their feet. And then they chase them out for 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers. That's like 2.7 miles, isn't it? Something like that. Imagine someone for 2.7 miles is following you, 60 people, and they're just throwing rocks at you. And they pick and keep throwing. Pick and keep throwing. You're getting a steady shower of rocks. Yani after half a mile, you tell them, really? Khalas already. You crazy, yani? Half a mile, you're throwing rocks at me? For almost 3 miles, and they're throwing rocks at the Prophet ﷺ. He went through all this difficulty, so it can be a role model for us. It can be a role model for us. So we can relate to the story of the Prophet ﷺ. We're going through difficulty. It's not the end of the world. And that's how it works. It's never the end of the world. You always go through calamities and you come out stronger. Never become unhappy just because of this difficulty or this test. Allah Azza wa Jalla already told you in the Quran that you are going to be tested. So when you're tested, your effort is to get an A+ on that test. Not to fail, not to complain, not to become unhappy. And by the way, the last thing I'm closing with, and is very important. Being sad is not one of the attributes of the believer. The scholars say, being sad has never been the description of the mu'min, that he is just sad. And some people think it's part of being religious to be sad. Yani there's calamities happening in Syria, and in Palestine, and in Burma, and in Kashmir, and so we have to be sad in order to stand with the people of our ummah. You don't have to be sad ever. You make your dua, you make your donations, but you never live your life sad. Alright, I'm going to stop here. Jazakumullah khairan for your attentive listening. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam.